I'm going to make cranberry chocolate chip dairy free. I'll get this going and then I'll talk more about it because this is really exciting. Oh, see, she had a sex change and is now making the coffee. Thanks, Ken. Yes.
I know that using the freshest ingredients, the best ones, are really important. But because of the cost of some ingredients, have you ever figured out what the average is when you're doing, like if the walnuts and pecans are expensive, what the amount of is that you should have on file?
What?
Okay.
Per gallon?
Oh, I'll answer that if you want. But you can go ahead if you want.
Let me do my way, and then you would do your ways.
Okay.
Mine's based on math, and yours is based on reality, on the street. Basically, the question is, what about the cost of different ingredients? Vanilla is one thing. Maple walnut's a whole lot more expensive. My pat answer for that, without going into great depth, would be I'd say about $17 for a 2.5 gallon tub. And the way I come to that is my vanilla cost about $14 a 2.5 gallon tub, and my maple walnut might be up around $20 a 2.5 gallon tub. But when you get down to the reality of running an ice cream parlor, you're going through 10, 20 times more vanilla in the average ice cream parlor. Not Jeff, but the average ice cream parlor is going through 20 times more vanilla, 20 tubs of vanilla for every tub of maple walnut. So you have to average that out and say, yeah, it costs more to make maple walnut, but I'm selling so much more of the lower price one.
And
now,
I'll give you my answer. Class, it doesn't matter. Use the best ingredients you can 100% of the times. Because instead of making $50 on a gallon of ice cream profit, you'll make $45 on a gallon. And does that matter? No. Not when the taste of your ice cream is absolutely the best. So when it comes time to buying ingredients, don't even think about the price. Buy the best all the time, right? We did all the cost analysis this week, and it comes out to nothing. It's pennies. Pennies. Between the junk that you would buy at the bottom shelf of a supermarket, or Hershey's, or Nestle's, or Ghirardelli, or any of them. So just buy the best.
What's surprising to me is looking at every ice cream shop I pass, is how bad some of them look. Just horrible.
How so?
They've got ice crystals. When they start melting, which they seem to do fairly often, it looks like kind of foamy marshmallows. And it's because it's all artificial stuff.
Well, not necessarily. A lot of it has to do with how they present their product. The worst villain. What's the worst villain to ice cream? Air. Air. Where do you find that air floating around? Do you find it in these with a cover on it in your freezer? No. You find it in 3-gallon tubs laid out 16 to a row with all the air going around it? Yeah.
See, I've told people I'm not going to have it displayed so they can see anything. And they all say, well, you have to do that. And I don't.
Do we have to do that?
No.
No. A dipping cabinet is a display of flavors. It's a visual display of flavors. You can't smell it, you can't feel it, you can't taste it. So what's an alternative to a visual display of flavors? A beautiful board with colors, different typefaces, descriptions, photographs. You ever go into a Chinese takeout restaurant? There's a menu there with 2,000 things on it. And sometimes you don't know, but if you look up, there's a board with 8 or 10 popular dishes displayed beautifully. They know.
I have got photographs of all that, a lot of different ice creams. But everybody keeps saying, well, you've got to let them taste. And I said, why? I mean, now, don't laugh when I ask you this. but if you're not going to display it and have them closed, and I'm using a model that's from Vienna. It's something that's a company that's been around since 1926. So it's pretty different from here. but they don't display anything. And their policy is basically, if you don't like something, guess what? I'll just give you another one.
I didn't plant her here, by the way. Go ahead.
Nobody can invent that.
So I'm not going to display them. And then when it came to the tasting, one of my friends said, you know what, why don't you just put up a little sign right where they ordered that says, the reason we don't give samples is for the integrity of the ice cream. Something like that.
How about for the line?
Well, that too. But I mean, I don't want to, yeah, because if they try it and don't like it, I'll just give them something else. But the thing is, isn't it best to put something up there that says, we don't give samples and this is why?
No. Just tell your girls to say no.
Can I trouble you for some strawberries?
Can I taste that? No. How about that one? No.
I have seen places that I belong to different blogs who rue the day that they ever gave out free samples.
Correct.
Because it ties up the line. And again, Americans won't wait for anything. So if you're there trying different samples and I just want to get my vanilla cone and get out, I'm probably not coming back. So while you think you're catering to one person, you don't know how many 5, 10, 15 people you're pissing off. Because they're having to wait so long while this person decides. There's been a lot of cases documented in these different blogs where...
Fist fights, riots.
That too. But people will come in and they'll try about 10 or 15 different things and then they're full and they go home. You know, the best thing to do is we make ice cream and you'll like that flavor, but if not, next time you come in, pick another flavor. You know,
remember,
you have to put...
Remember, your ice cream... Every one of you, after you learn from a competent source, are going to make the best ice cream in the world. It's not Breyers from the supermarket. It's not Publix ice cream. This is homemade ice cream. You're proud of it. So you know that of your 40 flavors, 30 flavors, 15, they're great. Every one of them is great. Otherwise, you wouldn't sell it. You created it, you made it, you have it, and it's great. So the word no is very important. When they come up to the girls at my store, can we have a sample? They don't even, no. Well, okay, I'll have this size with 2 flavors. No. No mixing flavors. What happens when you mix flavors? You get that third flavor that's not something you created. If you put pumpkin maple walnut next to mint chocolate chip because they want to have both flavors, they're going to have both flavors on it. They're going to create a new flavor that's not something you created. That may necessarily not go together. So the answer is no.
Every location's different, but as a general rule, I prefer the cabinets that you can't see into. I want to have some real nice signs that tell everybody what I have. You cannot tell that my M&M ice cream is really spectacular because instead of doing it like Steve Thompson used to, of just throwing the M&Ms in the machine, I grind them in the blender. So for every piece of dairy, there's a piece of M&M next to it. You can't tell that by looking at it. You have to buy it and try it, or you go on the recommendation of other people. But the main thing, the most important thing, which Jeff isn't touching on, is you got to move that line because I'm not going to wait. I hardly go to Starbucks anymore because I want a black coffee. I just want black coffee and get me out. I got a plane to catch.
That's true.
And here's the mocha latte, and I've been waiting 6 months for the pumpkin. I don't care. You know, why do I have to stand in line for that? Just have a line over here that says coffee.
Right.
You know, and let me
agree.
Same thing when you're doing pint sales, which I am really big on. Have a cabinet that says pints, and have a separate cash register over here. Here's your main line over here. Empty cash register. Pint sales. I come in, Paula says, pick up a couple of pints on the way home from work. I grab a couple of pints, I go over to the pint sale line, and the person over there says, oh, excuse me for a minute, I'll be right back. The person runs over here, takes my credit card, put it in the slot. You want a receipt? No, I want to get out of here. Do you want a bag? No, I want to get out of here. And I grab my pints and I go. That's how to sell a lot of pints. If I have to stand online here and wait for you to decide which flavor you're going to have, I'm never coming back here to order pints again because I want to get home. I'm tired. It's the end of the day. Speed is important. Yes?
Just one additional question. Mainly for you.
Me?
Yeah,
you.
Because model that I'm using, there's no toppings. There's no extra.
I have no toppings.
Okay, that's what I know.
We have no cones, no toppings, no sundaes, no bowls, no credit cards, no splitting flavors, no samples.
How small is your smallest?
$6, 12 ounces. 12 to the cup is 12. We give you 16.
I need strawberries.
Yeah, what do you need?
I need 18 ounces of strawberries.
Pureed.
Yeah,
Okay.
please.
Yeah.
So you don't have large splits or anything like that?
No.
Now,
Where do you live?
I'll counterdict
How long you staying?
Jeff. Hello. I'll counterdict Jeff on the credit cards. Jeff's business is extremely unique. He's got a certain crowd, a certain age group, and they're also coming in there for camaraderie. I'm very big on credit cards. We didn't used to be able to take credit cards in an ice cream parlor because it cost too much. It was 5 or 6%. It was some outrageous amount, and you had to wait for your money. There were just a million reasons not to take credit cards. Then they come along with this little chip that goes into your iPhone, or now you can get a base station, and millennials and below are not carrying cash. So they come in, and remember, those of you who went to college, and the guys especially wanted to play big man on campus. Hey, I'm buying everybody in the car a beer, or I'm buying, the fries are on me, and you'd pull out the cash and pay for it. Well, the same thing happens now in ice cream parlors. The guy walks in, he's got a couple of friends. Hey, the ice cream's on me, and he pulls out his credit card, swipes it through, and now that bill goes straight to mom and dad. And mom and dad look at it and say, Jeff's ice cream parlor. Well, that's better than Jeff's bar and grill. So they think that's pretty good. But the teenagers all have credit cards now, and they don't have cash. So the way you get this in a normal business, not Jeff's, but in a normal down-to-earth business, in a normal business, you need credit cards. And you just need the little machine, and you just zip right through, and it's great. Same thing with the pints, because again, the thing that drives me nuts about Starbucks at Tampa International, they raised the price from $1.99 for a small cup to $2.12. Great. I've got my coffee. I'm also now going through security with 80 whatever cents in change that I've got to pull out and pull in the basket, and half of it goes on the floor, and I'm picking it up. And guys don't like change. Round your prices up. Don't give us change. But that all goes away with a credit card. You just zip it and you're done. Money will disappear. I don't like the idea, but money's going to disappear.
It's not quite zip it and you're done. So we don't take credit cards because it slows the line. We have a line, and we don't give samples, and it slows the line.
Where's my guest speaker today? Who's the guest? Okay. Do you take credit cards?
Absolutely.
And what do you think of them?
That's amazing. It's less hassle for me to count out the change of the night. We also take Apple Pay as well.
Go to the bank.
Can someone translate for them? I'm kidding you.
Okay. No, you're not.
You got an ATM machine in your store?
No.
No?
Oh, hell no. That's making money for someone else.
Well, I just know one ice cream store that I was telling them about earlier. They don't take cards either, but they got an ATM machine over there. If you've got a debit card, you go get some.
If you've got an ATM machine. I used to walk into stores when I was young and even more brash, and they'd have pinball machines. I'd say, how much you want for your machine since you're going out of business? And they'd get really pissed off. They said, what do you mean I'm going out of business? I said, you got pinball machines in here. You'll be out of business in a year. And sure enough, they were, because they're noisy and they attract kids. And the moms with the little babies who have the money stopped going to the store. Why would you sell anything for anyone else? Coke wants to give me a free box? No, thanks. Only my name in the store. Nothing else. Anyway, let me make a product so that we can.
Now, I do have I did modernize to some extent with this. Only because my books are for sale here. You never did that.
Excuse me. All right, these are, Jeff, by the way, has produced.
My books are for sale, and I now can take credit card for the books.
Oh, see? See, he's got the little thing. You phony baloney.
I am a phony baloney.
All right, and with the sale of each one of these, you also get a free ice cream. So, oh, you get that anyway.
Where'd that come from?
Not at your store, here.
Oh, yes,
Yes,
that's right.
okay. 54 ounces. Ken, how am I going to measure 54 ounces?
Of what?
Dairy mix.
What do you mean, how? How many gallons, 54 ounces?
I don't know.
32 is a quart.
Okay, 64.
So it's a quart and 3/4.
All right. See, that's why we have you around.
So pour a quart and 3/4.
I'm making a dairy-free, which I'll explain after we get it running. Well, that's what I'm going to explain after I get going.
Let me explain.
You have to wait.
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yes. Pumpkin pie spice. There it is.
You ever taste this, by the way, with a spoon?
Yeah.
And?
It's better when it's frozen. It's coconut.
That's a back door, isn't it?
Well, it's not dairy. It's different.
It's solid. Look. What about that stuff?
Oh, it needs to be mixed up.
Yeah, you can't use it like that.
Let me get my blender.
Yeah, because right now all you're getting is that.
Okay. Now, I saw that blender this morning.
It's down here, the immersion.
Yeah.
I got it.
Okay. We'll have to bring it over here to plug in because I made it a couple
No, I
of
think
days
we're
ago.
okay.
Okay.
You in?
I got it set for a
Okay.
slow speed, so it should be good.
That's all we need.
Great.
Break up the coconut meat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Just put the top in the sink. I'll get it.
Got it.
I was glad to see you didn't buy one of those outboard motors.
Yeah. 4 tablespoons. Ken, could I trouble you for a tablespoon? Thanks.
What do you need?
A tablespoon.
I'll get it.
Well, he's already gone.
Huh?
He's already gone to get it unless you have one.
Oh, you can measure a tablespoon. That's a teaspoon.
Okay. Well, I wanted 4 tablespoons.
4 tablespoons?
That seems like a lot.
Yes, it does.
Let's do 4 teaspoons. It's probably my math.
Okay,
my
in the
writing.
mix, right?
Okay, so we've got the frozen strawberries, whole cranberries. Could not find whole cranberries anywhere. So I bought Ocean Spray cranberry whole berry sauce. So we're going to get a little extra sugar out of it, which is going to give more flavor, but it's got the berries in there too.
My kind of guy.
Let's put this in too, and then we'll hit
How
it with-
many?
I'll put 3 cans in,
Okay.
and then we'll hit it with the immersion
Okay.
blender.
Okay. Love that sound.
I have a 4th can if you think I'll need more.
You know me.
Well, maybe we'll taste it first.
Okay.
I'll let you decide. Yeah, I do know you. You love flavor. Now, don't take a picture of that.
By the way, you want to see a great invention?
What's that?
An apron.
Why would I need an apron? This is a KitchenAid immersion blender, and it comes with a lot of different accessories. It's just great stuff.
Wrap it up and get that good stuff out of there.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead, Connie. Now, I know what I didn't buy.
What?
Oh, we got some there.
What do you need? Honey.
Honey, 3/4
How
of a
much?
cup of honey, and 3 ounces of vanilla. We got another cup here.
You don't need a cup.
Well, it's 3.5 ounce cup, so
3 ounces of vanilla?
yeah. Yeah, well, that's my vanilla. That's the $500 a gallon, and you're
Yeah.
going to pour in 5 ounces.
No, I'm going to put in 3.5 ounces.
All right.
And how much honey? How much, darling?
3/4 of a cup, sweetie.
3/4 of a cup.
Yes. Okay, now, again, make sure the gate's closed, because the last thing I did was take the water out from rinsing it.
What do you want to do now?
Just,
Want to give it another shot?
all right.
Is that everything? Except the chips?
That's everything except the chips.
Get a spoon, we'll try it. On the left.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty good. Huh?
It's not bad. You want to go any more on the cranberry?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
Tastes good.
Good. Now, how much is in here total? 3 quarts. Perfect. All right, so we've got all the ingredients. I'll get this freezing, and I'll explain to you what we have here. Okay. Now I'm going to run this at super premium to lessen the air content. So I go to the infinite overrun control, look for super premium, touch that, touch start. That's running. Turn on the refrigeration.
Only food on earth that doesn't spoil. Honey.
Wow. I didn't
The
know
only
that.
food on earth that doesn't spoil.
Now, let me tell you about dairy-free. It's a fascinating subject, and let me start by saying that when you go to emerythompson.com,
Strawberries.
that would be nice.
Why don't you put something here?
I don't spill.
Now we might need a little more honey. Make up the sweetness, you know? We're adding strawberries?
Let's take a chance.
Okay.
Okay. Dairy-free ice cream is a made-up term. I told you that Italian ice is sugar, water, and flavor. Sorbet is sugar, water, and flavor. Gelato is dairy product with sugar, and ice cream is dairy product with sugar. Making a broad generalization, let me make a couple of broad generalizations. Until now, the largest buying group ever to come along were the baby boomers. I am happily at the bottom of the baby boomers. My sisters are up at the older end of the baby boomers, so I'm finally at the younger end of something. But I'm a baby boomer, and I have had, not insurance salesmen, but stockbrokers track what we've been doing since I was 18 years old. At 18, baby boomers were buying used cars. The market, you couldn't find a used car anywhere. In the 20s, they were renting apartments. In the late 20s, they were getting married, so you had wedding arrangers and plans like that going on. Then they bought their first house, and that market went up. Then they bought Dodge Caravans. The Dodge Caravan didn't exist until the baby boomers got to a certain age, and Lee Iacocca invented the Dodge Caravan, #1 selling vehicle in the world at the time. And now they're buying second homes. They're looking at Jimmy Buffett retirement communities and so on. You can track by age this group. Yeah, thank you. You can track the baby. We're putting in the Ghirardelli chocolate chips. You can track the baby boomers and we're such a huge buying group that we've impacted the whole world. Well, that was then. Now the millennials are the largest buying group ever to come along. The millennial age group, and it's hard to determine what the exact age is. I would say somewhere between 22 and 39, but it could go wider if you want. but they are the largest group of people ever to come on the planet Earth. And so from a business standpoint, we can track the millennials also. And that's not a bad thing. It's an extremely good thing. We can track what they're going to buy. So we know that the housing market's going to go up. We know that family cars are going to go up. These things are going to happen, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. Warren Buffett kind of touched on it years ago. They said, well, Mr. Buffett, how did you become a billionaire or multi-billionaire? What stocks do you buy? And he made one simple generalization. He said, I buy what I use. So he buys NetJets. He buys Colgate Palmolive toothpaste. He buys Dial soap. He doesn't just buy a bar of soap. He buys the company. But he buys what he uses, and he says, my age group, the baby boomers, are buying all this now. So the same thing with the millennials. There's a couple interesting things about the millennial age group. Number one, making generalizations again, where everybody on Earth, every single person on Earth loves ice cream or would like to have ice cream. The millennials, generalizing, don't like dairy product. They're not a fan of dairy. They don't put milk in their coffee. They don't have a glass of milk. They are not buying Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry or Breyers or Bluebell. They're just not doing it. So here I am, and I started heavy research on this back in January, and I'm pretty much the lone voice talking about this. And I started back in January with it. So you've got an age group that doesn't like something. So I started making dairy-free, or I started making coconut-based products. And to me, it was Italian ice. Instead of tap water, it was coconut water. I used normal flavors like strawberry. I use cream of coconut. You go buy a bar drink, a fancy bar drink. It's got cream of coconut in it. Coco Lopez, but Coco Lopez is expensive. You can find different ways. And it was good when you tasted it. People came to these seminars. They tasted it, and I was calling it coconut Italian ice. It didn't have a name yet. And it was good, but it wasn't great. And I'm the first to admit it wasn't great. It turned rock hard. It became hard to scoop. You couldn't put it in a dipping cabinet with ice cream. It had a lot of problems with it. This one lady came along in the United States, and she didn't have a name for it either. She called it vegan coconut gelato mix. There's a whole spread of, I don't know what to call it. Vegan? Do I call it vegan? Do I call it coconut product? Or do I call it gelato mix? It's not a gelato. So a few millennials down in Los Angeles, customers of mine, and I can't pinpoint who, but I can pinpoint that it started in Los Angeles, said, let's call it instead of vegan. Vegan to me, as a baby boomer, sounds like a 90-year-old man who weighs 90 pounds, and you look at him and say, boy, I wish I could buy you a decent dinner. They just look like they're starving to death. Again, sorry, a generalization. But the word vegan does not sell. It absolutely does not sell to anyone. I got to check this. So the millennials came up with a term which is absolutely perfect. They called it, it doesn't have any dairy in it, and it's not an Italian ice, really. So they called it dairy-free ice cream. Now, my customers my customers who have been in business 40 years, they're all, tearing their hair out, going, oh, you can't call it ice cream because the Food and Drug Administration says that in order to be called ice cream, it has to have at least 10% milk fat, butter fat, in the ice cream. In fact, when I was growing up, we had a product you'll never hear about called ice milk. Ice milk was anything below 10%. Ice milk sounds cheap. Gelato and frozen yogurt. There are no federal standards for gelato or frozen yogurt. So they can call, that's how they got around the law. They came up with a different name. This group, the millennials, are calling it dairy-free ice cream, an illegal term. They're not going to send out 2 Chevy Suburbans and haul you off to a black site in Yemen for calling it dairy-free ice cream. But it's a beautiful name. It rolls off the tongue. It tells you what it is. It's not gelato. It's not vegan. It's not, I'm missing dairy product. It's dairy-free ice cream. Breyers is doing this. Haagen-Dazs is doing it. Ben & Jerry are doing it. And they can't call it dairy-free ice cream. You look at a container of Breyers, if you can find it, because it's too new. Beautiful picture of mint chip ice cream. A big mint chip dish on the package. And it says dairy-free. And that's where it ends. They can't say the words ice cream. Your brain is doing it for them. It sees the ice cream, it sees its mint color, it sees chips in it. You see dairy-free, and then the brain says ice cream. But it's an illegal term, so they can't do it. But you can. And so, again, back to my customers up in, I'll get to you in a bit. Back to my customers up in, have had business 30, 40 years. The first response I get really surprised me that they could be so closed-minded. They say, well, I ain't selling anything that doesn't have a cow head on it. And I go, oh, yeah, how's that 8-track player working in your car right now? Times change. And I said, I'm not asking you to switch over to a completely dairy-free business. That's not going to happen. Well, it will happen. It'll be someone in San Francisco, and it'll be mediocre. But you've got to have real dairy ice cream. But what's the problem if you've got 16 flavors of ice cream of having 2 or 4 flavors of dairy-free? It's a market that you don't know that you have. Right now, if you are all my age, I've got you sold on Jeff's ice cream. That's what you came in to buy. But what you don't have in Jeff's ice cream parlor, and I'm sorry to use you as an example, an ice cream parlor, is you don't have the millennial age group walking through the door. So you've got this great business, you've been in business for 40 years, you're making a real nice income, but you're missing out on an entire segment of the market because you don't have dairy-free. The millennials are so different from Jeff and me. Jeff and I go to a cocktail party, and I say, hey, Jeff, look, I just got this, the new iPhone X, cost me $1,000. He'd look at me and say, you're a fool. But for the purpose of the story, he'd say, oh, that's nice, maybe I'll get one. End of conversation. Go to two millennials go to a cocktail party, and one millennial says to the other, hey, I just found out that Mystic Ice has dairy-free ice cream. Really? Cool. Text it over to me. I text it over to him, to her, and that person then texts it to 10 of their friends, who text it to another 20 of their friends. By the time that cocktail party's over, there's 1,000 people in Fruit Loops, Florida, that know that Jeff has dairy-free ice cream. And this is what we're going to talk about next. We have an expert on this. The marketing potential that happens today is just incredible. This has a coconut. It's a coconut based. It has a coconut hint to it. I can do strong flavors with it. I do coffee all the time. I love it. It's technically a high-fat product, but it's good fat. Doctors will tell you, hey, eat all the coconut you can get. It's the best stuff on earth. If you've got an elderly parent, give it to them. It might ward off Alzheimer's. It does so much good for you. I think it's lousy for vanilla, because the vanilla is battling the coconut flavor for world dominance, and neither one is winning. But if I do strawberry, if I do Heath candy bar, if I do Oreo cookie, fantastic. Any flavor I can do in ice cream, I can do here. I have found that, like ice cream, yeah, we'll get it out. This flavor will bloom by this time tomorrow. So it's good now. It'll be even greater tomorrow. And now you are catering to a segment that you never had. And it's going to be, in the words of Donald Trump, it's going to be huge, and you're going to love it. I mean, you're going to have so much business that you didn't even know you didn't have. So come on up and try and see if I'm right. How'd it come out?
I'm not a fan.
Okay, but what about the honey?
It could have used more since we had more strawberry, but it is what it is.
Okay.
You try it.
Yeah, we are. Yeah. Thank you very much. What about you?
No, I'm just driving from Germany. I'm serving in a based in Germany, so in British Arms.
Oh, okay.
You take that.
It was good. I wish I had better chips.
Better chips?
Well, flakes.
Oh.
I was going to call you up and ask you if you had any flakes.
I don't have any flakes.
Okay. So this is what you use?
Chips.
These little
Yeah, but I'm
deli?
now starting to put chunks in the Ninja. You know, the Dove Bar little chunks into the mounded ones?
Yeah.
I'm trying to throw those in the Ninja
Yeah.
and get many different sizes.
Okay, cool.